Hello, I'm a rock, and this is a video, the first in a series, a new series actually, that I'm going to be adding to my roster of series, if that's a word. Once again, I'm a rock, and welcome to a series of pointless conversations. This is how this is going to go down. It's going to be me and a guest, or a couple of guests, talking about one pretty specific topic. That varies from show to show. Joining me tonight is colleague, fellow scholar and writer and gamer, Kyon.
Hello.
Alright. So, Kyon, do you want to tell them what we're talking about, or should I?
Yeah, I'll tell them. We're going to be talking about the Xbox One and why it's complete crap.
I would have called it the Xbox 3. I just want to know where, before we get into this, I just want to know where the other 359 went. I mean, 358,
Probably
I
into
guess,
the
if you
trash,
can't.
like all the other things that the Xbox One has been coming out with, or Microsoft.
Into the trash. So they're all inside the Xbox One. Okay, never mind. Let's not be biased. All right. So all right. I've got this article here that we're gonna base off of, and the title is "The past week has been a train wreck for Microsoft, and it's only getting worse." Obviously, you can tell where this is going. There's gonna be a lot of hatred. I did a Nintendo rant video recently. I don't know if you guys watched it, but definitely watch it. It's pretty good. And now we're gonna take our shots at Xbox. And remember that this is all opinion. I mean, there are facts there, but it's all opinion. So before you break your keyboard with anger, just remember, everybody's got their own opinion. All right, so let's break this down since we only have about 15 minutes to do so. Let's start with the reveal. As you may know, Kyon,
Yep.
or may have not have known, Microsoft with, what's his face, the guy who displayed the Xbox One, were pretty much, talking about just hardware and what it can do, no gaming. They were going to save that for E3, which is coming up. As of now, it's coming up. Pretty much, what we got was features, but no actual hardware,
Yeah.
which is interesting.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. They showed some gaming stuff, which is kind of a contradiction to what they said earlier. But, let me start by revealing. Let me start by, going over the intro to this article. It starts out something like, the Xbox One was announced about a week ago on Tuesday, May 21st, with a very mediocre unveil. He says he's going to quickly cover the reveal and give his opinions, and show how much of a, quote, waste of time management it was. Right? So this guy obviously is biased, but the reason I'm going over this is there are some very good facts in it. Let's talk about the reveal and what they covered. Okay, the first 9 minutes, excuse me, were talking about the console, which is nice. And then 5 minutes after that, they were through talking about the user interface and the features. Then, this is where it started to get dicey. They spent 5 minutes talking about Skype, television, and fantasy basketball.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think they wanted to get paid some money for some advertisement early on there.
Oh yeah, no, if that wasn't bad enough. Well, they talked about how it was going to have Kinect built into it, and Xbox Live, for 6 minutes. Not about new Xbox Live stuff, just that it had an updated Xbox Live dashboard. No new features, the same, but
Didn't they have a voice activation for it though? I mean, That's got to count for
I
something, right?
yeah, but 6 minutes? 6 minutes! That's double the amount of time they spent discussing, quote unquote, the architecture of the console. The architecture. And that I'm not just pulling that word out of my ass. That's what they said.
Yeah,
The architecture. It's a box. It's in the name.
I think the reason why they want to spend so much time on cosmetics is because they're probably afraid that their specs aren't up to snuff compared to the PS4,
Right.
and
Right.
they just don't want to admit that the PS4 might be better as a console before it comes out.
All right. All right. So moving on. Um so the press conference was an hour long, and that's 28 minutes right there.
Hmm.
So what's next? 7 minutes of EA Sports, a pre-rendered trailer on a PC. Wait, what happened to games? Or no games, rather. 7 minutes of a Forza trailer, also pre-rendered. But they did announce 15 exclusives, and 8 of which are new originals, which is good, but why have 7 minutes of EA Sports if you can show all of that, if you have that much? That's kind of a bluff, no? Then after that, they spent 6 minutes rambling about how cool it was to play TV on a console, and that Steven Spielberg would be directing a Halo TV series, which I have mixed opinions on. How do you feel about that?
I like Halo. I would be interested in a show. I don't know how they would be able to do it, but I'd be interested.
Well, Forward Unto Dawn was really good, but at a point where you have a game series where your cinematics are better than the actual games, I mean, what are we doing here? Is this a movie or a video game franchise?
True. I think we put a lot more emphasis on graphics nowadays and not enough on actual storytelling and game mechanics, which is
Yeah, that's
unfortunate.
right. That's right. Okay, so after that, 3 more minutes of sports, and big surprise, nearly 15 minutes talking about the new Call of Duty.
And I don't know why a franchise that
I know why.
isn't Microsoft would be talking about, they'd be talking about a franchise that isn't Microsoft,
Product placement, my friend.
Well,
Product placement.
other than for big bucks, which is sad. It just goes to show you that that wasn't to reveal the new system, it was to make money off
Yeah,
of...
what kind of reveal were they doing?
It was basically
Okay.
a surprise, what you call it, commercial. It's like those car commercials, they try to seem all deep and shit, and all of a sudden,
No,
ba-bam, car commercial.
the Honda Ferrari.
Yep.
Anyway, this article brings up a good point about this. Some of the flaws that this might have. Okay, so obviously people weren't happy about the conference, and nobody was really... They didn't know what to think at first. But obviously Europe was pissed because none of the entertainment content was coming to the PAL regions anytime
Which is
soon.
another reason why, game companies are far
but-
out of touch. I mean, Europe has been,
Yeah.
the butt of a joke for the game companies for a long time, which is unfortunate.
I was about to say the article says, and I quote, "The people who watch this, gamers specifically, wanted to see more of the console and its potential. And since there did turn out to be a presence of games, they wanted more worthwhile gaming presentation too. The conference was not all that positive for...
It just goes to
lots
show
of
you that
people.
even though Call of Duty might make a lot of money, it's not that popular anymore.
But alright, let's get to what I was saying before. This article makes a couple of good points, and I'm reading here. This is something that nobody's touched on before. Let's start with this. The Kinect cannot be turned off. It's built into the console. I'm going to read this off from the article, starting now. The Kinect cannot be turned off, even when you turn your console off. Kinect is still in a low power state, listening constantly. And your console will not function properly without the Kinect. This is inconvenient, and this is also a major privacy issue for an enormous amount of people. So how would you feel if you turned off your Xbox console and there was still a webcam in it streaming?
I love Big Brother. I love Big Brother so much.
I love that book. But, yeah, exactly. Like, this is the same kind of... And you had people back in the day I can't believe I'm saying back in the day. This was like 2007. But when we were switching to digital towers, fearing that when they were coming to replace the boxes, the cable boxes, they were going to install cameras.
Yeah.
This is actually a valid threat. Can you imagine how many people are freaking out?
Well, wasn't there a big thing with like when President Bush was, in office, where people were actually fearful of wiretaps in like public homes, or well,
Yes.
in civilian homes, not just like quote unquote terrorists, just any civilian. And didn't
Yes.
they admit that they actually did that shit?
They did.
So
That's right, and it's against the law.
it's quite a valid fear, because if the government's doing it, why can't a company do it?
Yes, I agree. I agree. Um, moving on. Let's talk a little about the the oh so new features, the loved new features of the Xbox One. First of all, the used game rumor is not a rumor anymore. Lots of people have talked about how consoles are trying to oust used games. Apparently the way the console works is if you have a used game... Okay, let me just read from the article. Quote, I'm sure many have read about the massive maze of authorization and sign-ins and payment methods that Microsoft has come up with. And I'm sure everyone has seen Microsoft's confused as hell employees, try to actually explain the process also. So what I'm gathering from this and what I've heard is it's something like a serial number on the game, and if you have a used game, you have to pay like a $20 or $30 fee for it. That's what they're saying. But apparently now you have to jump through hoops of authorization for games and sign-in and payment methods for games. I mean, isn't it enough that you're paying for online?
Well, I'm gonna, agree with one of my favorite YouTubers, Halloween4545, and say that, I don't like that game companies, when you buy a game, are just letting you rent the game from them, and that if they, want to do something with their game, that they don't, if you do something that they don't like, well, tough shit, they're not gonna let you do it, and, even though you bought the game and the right to use it and play it and do with it what you want, basically. I mean,
Yeah, I agree.
You have console, not region locking. Like, what the hell is that about? Region locking.
Well, that's been a thing since like
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying.
NES.
But like, this is Microsoft's taking the next step and just like locking used games in general, not even just region locking them. And region locking is a big thing. It's like, why does that even make sense? I don't know.
Yeah, it's not fair. The whole thing about region balance and localization balance comes into question. But you're right, Microsoft is taking a whole new step, and not only is it unfair, it's just it's unwarranted. I mean, you have one of the biggest gaming companies these days, and not dev teams or anything. GameStop.
Mm-hmm.
How do they make most of their money? Screwing you over with used games.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure GameStop is pretty happy about that. We're about 14 minutes in, and I'm thinking I'm extending this to about a half hour so that we can actually get our thoughts out a little more. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, cool. So, all right. We're going to take a brief commercial break, and we'll be back. Any final thoughts for now, the first segment?
I love Big Brother. Don't hurt me.
Me too. Okay. We'll be And we're back, and still talking about the Xbox One, and something you said in the last segment stuck with me. Tough shit. They're just saying tough shit. Actually, in the very first paragraph of this article, he says, it almost feels like at this point they may be just trying to tell us, gamers, to just deal with it. And that's exactly what it is. You know, all these rumors of, like we were talking about, used game locking, always online. It's true. I mean, like, okay, let's be fair here. Always online is not true, but you do have to check in once a day. So that's
Eh,
365 times a year.
that's just trying to give it a silver lining. It's the same thing. Uh,
What about people who don't have a stable internet
well,
connection? You're
exactly,
alienating them.
exactly.
Someone who
I don't
might not
see the
have...
point. Like, you have a game that you can play offline by yourself, a single-player game, right? But now they're saying, oh, no, 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 it's not really a single-player game. We have to make sure that you're actually playing a single-player game. You want to make sure I'm playing the game?
It is. You know what? I just thought about it. That's exactly their motive. It's monitoring. That blows my mind. I just realized that.
Yeah,
That's 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 another level. That is wow.
yeah. They don't really care for you as a person. They care about you as a person with money or a customer.
All
And
right.
when I say customer,
Yeah.
I don't mean like, the person that
A consumer.
yeah, a
A,
consumer,
a
exactly, a
consumer.
consumer, someone that just buys products and does it. So, um, if they could, they would charge you 100% of whatever it is, because they make the most money, they charge you or 200%, 300% of the thing, right? But
Right.
at a certain point, people won't buy your product if they think it's too expensive.
That's what I'm saying. What I asked you when we were talking about this before we started
Yeah.
recording is how do they expect to make that $30 from used games if nobody buys their
Well, it's just the
console?
thing. On paper, it sounds amazing, like if the government was to tax you 100% of your paycheck, they'd make 100%. They'd make so much more money. 100% of the profit, right? But the thing is, would anyone pay that?
No, obviously
No.
not.
So you're not going to do that. Um, but Microsoft doesn't think is at the point where they think, oh yeah, 100% of taxes is going to work. You know, uh, we're going to make a ton of money off these used games. But in reality, they probably aren't. People aren't going to really do that. And then they're probably thinking
Speaking
like,
realistically, the best outcome that could come of this is GameStop will have to price cap.
that
Like a used game that's usually, I don't know, $25 will have to be $5.
possibly, but people probably won't even do that. And then
But
Microsoft's probably
then who's
thinking,
making the profit? The business isn't making the profit.
I
Microsoft
know,
is.
but then Microsoft's probably thinking like, well, if they're not going to buy used games, then they're just going to buy new games, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm
But
saying. They're trying to oust the new
they're not
games,
going
or
to
I mean,
though,
used games.
because no one's really going to buy
That's
Xbox
what I'm
One
saying.
because of all these restrictions. There's no point in buying it if you can just buy a PlayStation 4 or a computer that doesn't have these things.
Let's get to that later.
Yeah.
Talking about the aftermath of or I'm sorry, following the article, because we just got done with that part. And there's going to be a link in the description, so you guys can read the whole thing if you want, if you're really that interested. Um, the feedback. Now, the feedback is always a huge deal when something big goes down, right? It's either a hit or miss. There's always risk and reward with new things like this. And this is definitely an event. Not the reveal. What's happening afterwards. People are pissed. Even Xbox fanboys are pissed.
Yeah.
What this article is saying is after the let me read this. After the reveal of the Xbox One, quote, Sony's stock immediately shot up. Amazon claimed that the Wii U sales shot up after it. Reports of PS4 pre-order notices doubled at GameStop. Gamers don't like this. They don't want it. It's the proverbial broccoli on the plate of beef. They don't want it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I wouldn't use that analogy though, because then people might be like, "Oh yeah, well, you're being little kids." It's like everyone wants to jump on gamers and call them entitled or some bullshit kind of thing.
Mature, yeah. But here's the thing. You can be immature. You can have the worst attention span. But another thing about this reveal, sensory overload. In 1 hour, you had tons of bullshit, and then towards the very end, you get always online, used games require a fee, and you always have to have Connect. In one little block. Like, whoa, slow down. Slow down. Can't we talk about how cool the arms on Call of Duty look some more? I mean, you might as well add another 5 minutes in there.
Yeah, it's
Jesus.
unfortunately people aren't as dumb as that, thankfully, and they picked up on it, and they're telling Microsoft that that's bull, and we don't want to stand for that.
Okay, well, here's the thing. It's like... Have you ever seen the cartoon Tom and Jerry?
Of course, it's my favorite cartoon.
Yeah, it's a classic. Do you remember the one episode where Jerry's trying to teach his friend who's a duck how to fly?
Yes.
Well, there's one part in particular that I'm gonna use as a metaphor, or I guess a simile in this case. It's like when Tom the cat runs into one rake, gets hit in the face, and then turns around and does it again.
Yeah.
They're just stepping on every landmine they could be stepping on. And here's what I mean. Obviously, the feedback is visible.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
There's not really any good news on Microsoft's front. And E3's 2 weeks away.
Mm-hmm.
That's bad enough on its own. But here's the thing. Larry Hibb, the director of programming at Microsoft, and a very major voice of the Xbox itself, the think tank, he has this blog, and he was going to release information that explains and was supposed to clarify the issues that were placed,
yeah,
and the issues that are being brought up. Well, needless to say, the bumbling idiot stumbles again. No offense. It's kind of harsh, but it's true. He pretty much made a short several sentence PR style explanation, and not only does it not clarify anything, but it raises more questions. In that article that's linked in the description down below, which I'm using as a source here, you can look at these blog posts, and I've read them. They're kind of not good. I'm not going to get into them, but they do raise a lot of questions, and people are pissed. And Microsoft has just been acting really badly. Dan Matrick, the guy who was at the Xbox reveal, goes, if you're backwards compatible, you're really backwards. Another thing is Microsoft has announced that Xbox One won't be backwards compatible at all. It's a shame, you know. I enjoyed playing Jet Set Radio on my Xbox 360. But, okay. Another example of bad behavior is Adam Orth. I don't know if you guys know who that is. Kyon, you know who he is, right?
Sort of.
He's a PR guy at Microsoft. Yeah. He was the one who leaked the rumor that Xbox was always online. Now, he got some pretty criticizing tweets on his Twitter, and he responds with such inappropriate things. Let me read off some of them for you. Sorry for expressing my personal opinion about what I want from the electronic devices that I pay for on Twitter. Jesus, in response to bad criticism. Manveer Hare writes, what if I was in an underdeveloped country? Why would I have to be online? I wouldn't be able to get online. What if I was in a place like Africa? Adam Orth responds, why on earth would I live there?
Yeah. This is, I don't know if he was drunk or high or something. Maybe not at all. Maybe he was just thinking from
asshole?
his own perspective, or not perspective, his own point of view. Maybe he has the money to live anywhere he wants, but most certainly not everyone does. And you have to also
That's
realize
not all
that you're
though.
also selling it to people that don't have all the kind of privileges that middle class Americans have, or even like lower middle class. I mean, there's two types of middle class now apparently, higher and lower. Lower,
Yeah, caste systems are weird,
yeah.
but let me keep on this. That's not all. He has tons of other responses. When someone asked about the whole always online thing in terms of it's not efficient and that it's kind of convoluted, he responds, "True. I guess it's up to you if you want to make a smoothie with a chainsaw." Wow. He also, when asked about people who don't have the internet, like one person said something like, "Oh, well, what if I go to my relative's house and they don't have internet because they're older, they're elderly?" Adam Worth goes, "Those people should definitely get with the times and get the internet. It's awesome." Uh, and then another response to all of this is, "Sorry, I don't get the drama around with having an always-on console. Every device is now always on. That's the world we live in. Deal with it."
But
He openly says deal with it.
it's
You know what that got him?
fired.
Fired.
Yeah.
Fired.
That's the thing, though. Not systems aren't always on, though. I can play my Xbox 360 and it's not on all the time.
That's
I can
right.
play my PlayStation 2. It's not on all the time. I can play my PlayStation 3. It's not on all the time. I play my PC. Not on all the time. I can shut off my phone. Easily.
The only thing that's going to be always online is the joke of PR that Adam Orth was. Sorry. Well, unless we want to proceed, because we're doing this as we go, because we're very unprofessional people. This is once again, it's a series of pointless conversations, and it's rambling, obviously. But do you want to go another 15 minutes?
Oh, sure. There's a lot more to cover.
How about we just make it a solid hour?
Oh, wow. A solid hour. Holy crap. Okay.
Do you want to do
Let's
that?
just talk for an hour then, yeah.
Yeah, because we're about halfway through. All right. Well,
Break.
yeah, we'll be right back. Hacks. All right, be right back. And we're back. I'm a rock. Series of pointless conversations. Episode Uno, the Xbox Uno. Joining me is Kyon. Hello, Kyon.
Hello.
And when we last left off, we were talking about Adam Orth, the fail of a PR exec who just couldn't be nice. Kind of a douche.
First thing with PRs, you have to be nice to these goddamn customers. I mean,
well, it's public relations.
Yep.
Yeah. We're gonna close this article a bit, and then talk a little more. All right. Let me read a passage from this article. Even more interesting is YouTube. Now, this is YouTube's reaction. A lot of people watch that stuff. Microsoft's official unveil video of the console has 5.2 million views, and I'm going to be throwing more statistics your way. Right now, with 22,000 likes and 14,000 dislikes. Even more interesting is something I'm sure many of you have seen, the parody video of the Xbox One unveil called Xbox One Reveal Highlights. It's getting more views than the official unveil video. The video effectively mocks the unveil and currently has 5.5 million views. That's 200,000 more views of a parody than the official thing. The funny thing is that there are 100,000 thumbs up, more ratings than the official video combined with likes and dislikes, may I remind you. and a tiny 4,500 thumbs down. How does a parody video making fun of the real product unveil get more views? It's obviously a showing of consumer outrage.
That, and I think people just like laughing at failure.
Yeah. Well, people are obviously pissed.
Yep. I mean, obviously we're pissed. I mean, we're making a damn video about it.
Yeah. Speaking of, nice segue. There are videos getting really high view counts of reactions, because YouTube's a forum. People are gonna throw their opinions out there.
Well, that's one thing.
Although not always intelligent, they're gonna throw their opinions out there.
Well,
That's how life works.
Yeah, that's how life works, and that's certainly how the
Angry Joe. Let's talk about Angry Joe.
Angry Joe.
Who his rant video was aired or uploaded, should I say? We're in the digital age. The day before the day of this recording, and it already has 1.4 million views.
Check to see how much that has personally. Let's see.
Yeah. Can you give us a statistic of that?
Yes, I am totally doing this professionally.
No, that's fine. Don't worry. It's.
No.
I'm drinking Mountain
Okay,
Dew.
1.5 million.
So
75K
that's
likes, 3K dislikes.
That's like that's 1/5 of the official thing. 1/5.
It's a 21-minute video. Dang, people actually like went through this entire video. I like that.
Well, hopefully people go through ours.
Oh, well, hopefully.
All right. Well, they even did a Rebecca Black. They were getting so much hate talking about the official Xbox One unveil. They were getting so much hate about the Xbox One reveal that not only did they disable comments on that video, the official Xbox channel's video channel, their channel, excuse me, there are no comments enabled. You can't comment on any of their videos.
Mm-hmm.
Any of their videos, not just the one. Anybody, and you can't post anything on their channel either, like comments, channel comments. Can't do anything.
Yeah, they're really afraid of people actually being heard on their videos. I mean.
Oh yeah, and you know what? It's a shame because that just shows you're doing something
Well,
wrong.
it also shows that
You
they're afraid of their customers, which is a good thing.
They're afraid.
You should be afraid of your customers.
Because they're your money makers, honestly.
And
but the article here says it pretty well, pretty concisely. It's an absolute train wreck.
Yeah. And I would agree with that. It is pretty bad. I mean, like, you might be able to block your official, site or videos, but you can't block out secondary sites and a third party, and that's where a lot of people really go. They don't go to your main site to look at what people have to say. Who would do that? I mean, you have a lot of...
No, it spreads like wildfire. Yeah. You see it. If you... Let me just Google Xbox One complaints.
Probably.
I got about 4 million results. Slate Magazine, Geek Blog, Fox News.
Fox News, holy crap.
IGN.
Are they actually agreeing? Are we actually agreeing on something?
CNET.
I've seen it.
Forbes.
I haven't actually heard of
NeoSeeker. These are things that aren't related to gaming. You got Fox News. You've got Slate Magazine.
A lot of it also.
You've got Forbes complaining about this.
You probably got like business magazines complaining about it too. I mean, like that's the problem with stocks. When you have a problem with the product, you have a problem with your stock.
Well, we did mention that Sony's stock shot up ridiculously, exuberantly. Sony's stock shot up more in that day than Burger King lost stock within the last 6 months. Anyway, no. But yeah, no, it's crazy. It's really, it's almost unreal how, like, they dropped the ball. And when I say they dropped the ball, I mean Grand fucking Canyon, they dropped the ball.
Yeah, I was going to quote something else and say seat of courage, but, it's cool.
Seat of courage.
But
The failure shown at the Xbox One reveal is larger and more hard to handle than Hamada Masatoshi's lips.
yep.
You have to respect it, but it's too hard to
Yep.
handle.
So, are you saying that Microsoft now looks like a small gorilla?
Well, they're definitely slipping on every banana peel they can get.
Oh man, do you think those banana peels were put there by Mario from Nintendo?
You know what? It's okay. Nintendo trips all the time.
Yep.
Super Smash Bros. We already talked about Nintendo, so
Yeah,
let's
let's
not go
not go
there.
there.
But tripping will not be in the new Smash Brothers. Namco has said that there will be no tripping. So, Diddy Kong, sorry, your dynamic is gone. But, okay, let's get back to Microsoft. It's easy to see that they fucked up, obviously.
Yeah.
We've been talking about this. We've covered almost, I don't know, 45 minutes talking about how they fucked up.
Yep.
We should talk about now how they fixed it, how they could fix it.
Oh yeah, it's very important.
It's easy to take out these, always online and connect and
Especially if you haven't started manufacture.
used game paywalls. Exactly, they haven't. It's all greed. It's all losing sight, and I'm going to get into that later. But you can take all of that out.
Yeah. I mean,
Ken.
these are very, like, I don't know how easy it is from, like, a technical standpoint. I don't do programming or building, like, hardware, but I am going to assume that
Well,
those features would probably be easy to take out. I mean, like, you can make it so that you can turn
it's
off
not.
the
It's
damn
not. It's not
console
the
also.
hardware. It's not the hardware. You understand? It's the OS. It's the operating system. The software.
But I'm
it's the
sure
cloud servers,
that you can take
the
out
remote servers.
like the always on thing, or and the always have to be online, or the once a day thing. I mean, and what, like, if they don't do it now, they're gonna do it later with like a new edition of like the Xbox One.
It really sucks.
Xbox 1.0, they're gonna
I'm
call it.
starting to think it is
1.2.
all about money, because if you're always online and you have to check in once a day, well, there's Xbox Silver, but they're going to encourage you to get Xbox Gold, which I thought they had a lot of gall doing on the Xbox 360, paying for online. Really?
Well,
Isn't it enough that I buy your consoles, I
it
buy
is,
your
but
games,
like,
I pay internet bills?
I want to say though that their online experience is usually better than PSN.
That's right. Okay, that makes sense.
Like,
it is Microsoft though we're dealing
yeah.
with. They're a company that's built off of.
So while you might be paying, you're actually getting like a lot. Like you're actually paying for something that is better. But even still, it is kind of a ripoff.
It is. It's a chump way to get cash.
Yeah.
Just like, the used game thing.
Yeah.
All right. Now, once again, E3 is coming up at the time of this video. E3 is June 11th to June 13th. Now, they have 2 weeks at the time that this video is being made. They have 2 weeks to take all that stuff out and unveil some magic.
Or at least announce that they're taking it out.
That's right. People might forgive them.
Might.
Let me read off this article. If Microsoft eliminates these 3 things and shows amazing games at the unveil at E3, speaking of course of their intellectual properties and all that stuff that they announced but they didn't show, perhaps they will have a good launch. But if they keep walking down their current path of meaningless clarifications and pointing the finger back at the press and gamers, then they are going to have a very, very troubling time this year and beyond. If they keep delaying the issue, then people will solve it by voting with their wallets and not buying the Xbox One. It's easy to see that Microsoft did not project this kind of outcry. And I wonder if they project their sales actually getting affected either at this rate. Do they truly know and are aware of what's going on right now? The sad thing is I see no actual way of Microsoft actually fixing this. Well, that's the bias. I'm not going to read that part. They could fix it. It's easy. It's really easy. It's just a lack of care on their part.
Yep.
They're going down a very, very, very greedy road, very tunnel vision with the money. Oh, excuse me. They're very tunnel vision with the money, and excuse me, very unprofessional. Beep. They're getting very tunnel vision with the money. With the money. And they're losing sight. I talked about this in my Nintendo review. Or rant, excuse me. That's what it is. There's no hiding that.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is what happens to companies that go too long and unchecked. I mean, customers start to not realize that they have a lot more control over companies than they think, even if they don't have stocks. If enough people don't buy your the company's product, the company has to make changes. They have to, or else they go out of business.
Of course.
The only reason why games are selling for $60 a pop now, because gamers are like, okay, $60, we'll buy that for $60. When you could just be like, no, I'm not gonna buy that for $60.
A good lateral observation, so to speak. A good connection. It's like in a game of League of Legends when they tower dive and nobody punishes. They just think it's okay. They don't know it's wrong. Or they do, but they know that you're too stupid to react that they can get away with it.
So don't be that dummy. Punish them.
Don't be that
Punish
guy.
them hard.
Go hard or go home.
Basically. I mean,
video games used to be new video games used to be $15. What the fuck happened?
we went over to CDs, and that suddenly increased the price.
No. I remember buying new PS1 games for $25. $10 of difference.
Yeah, but, I mean, CDs, they went over to CDs, and they're like, haha, it costs more money, even though the CDs cost, like, literally 3 cents a thing, and are
that
cheaper
still doesn't
than
explain
cartridges.
why the PS3 and the Xbox 360 were $500.
Exactly. You know why the PS3 was probably, like, a lot. They were giving away free internet.
I was one of those guys who bought a PS3 and sold it on eBay for $400 more. I'm going to admit.
And please, people...
If I can do that with a PS4, I'll do it. And I'll buy another PS4.
If you're thinking of buying a Xbox One and, selling on eBay for X amount more profit, probably rethink your strategy. It's probably not going to work out that well.
Not now. No, of course not. I was just joking.
But it might be a bad idea. That's all I'm saying.
All right. In the next segment, we're going to be talking about modern gaming and what's wrong with it. Anyway, we're almost at 15 minutes. Jeez. Be right. We're back. I'm Barack. This is Kyon.
Yep, it's me, Kyon.
And in this last segment of the first episode of a series of pointless conversations, we're going to be talking about modern gaming. Now let me set the scene for you, Kyon, and you can answer me after I ask you the question, because that's what we're doing.
All right.
I'm going to give you a scenario, and you answer.
All right.
Now, you are a gamer, an undecided gamer, no bias, no nothing, and which is very hard to find these days somehow. And well, you want to get a new console. Let's just say Xbox One, PS4, obviously the Wii U, are out. They're all out and available.
All right.
And you have some cash to spend. Thinking logically, as a smart consumer, do you either A, Xbox One, B, Wii U, C, PS4, or D, shell out an extra $400 and get a gaming PC? And why?
So, I think it's probably obvious by now, but I'm going to go with an unbiased thing. All right, I'm going to look at the objectively at the Xbox One as best as I can.
All right.
It's
Knowing what we know now, of
yeah,
course.
it's as of right now, it it's always online. Unfortunately, I do actually have some problems with my internet sometimes. Problems on the internet sometimes. I think it's the provider, but either way, um, it sometimes cuts out randomly. So, well, maybe it won't prevent me from, uh,
Checking in.
checking in, but it may make it a bit annoying to actually play once in a while.
Right.
Uh, so that's unfortunate. Uh, I don't know the exact specs because they didn't announce them yet.
Not really.
Yeah.
Not in detail.
No. So I don't
They
even
just said that it was better.
yeah I don't even know. Um, and then obviously I don't like the idea of Big Brother being in my house. I really don't.
Well, yeah,
So
there's possibility for that. Not only that, you remember what happened with WillSec and Sony? If something, there's potential of malicious organizations
yeah,
such as AAOA of China who has gotten away with hacking Microsoft server system
yeah.
pretty recently.
So in other words, I don't
In other
think
words,
I'd
they're
be buying.
not only can Microsoft tune in whenever they want because Connect is always
Yeah,
on,
I would.
but there's other people like people who can hack servers who would potentially be able to see what you're doing.
Yeah, I would not choose a Xbox One. Definitely not. PlayStation 4. Um,
We don't know much
no,
yet,
we don't know much
so
about them either. But if going by before with the PlayStation 3, where it didn't really have too many games that I actually was interested in, I don't think I'd be too interested in that either. Um, and then the Wii U, tried it with the Wii, the nunchuk and all the motion sensor and stuff. Didn't really like it. Wasn't that fun, you know. I ended up playing Twilight Princess on the GameCube, and that was the last game I played that would you could have played on the Wii U, other than Brawl, which you play with controller. So
oh yeah, there's no GameCube control. You have to shell out the money for Classic or the new Xbox controller on the Wii.
yeah, so yeah, I'm kind of not really interested in that either. So PC, there's a lot you can do with PC. It might be more expensive, but you can upgrade.
You get your worth
Yeah,
in
you
weight.
can upgrade it. You can get a ton of games for it. You have Steam.
Right.
Lesser extent, what's the other one that EA has? I forget what it's called.
Pogo?
Whatever it is.
No, that was a joke. Pogo's Shockwave.
But whatever it is, I don't know. Um,
No, just
and
kidding.
then you have other sites that also do the same thing as Steam, let you download a digital copy of the game.
Yeah, Microsoft does it even.
Yeah, and then you have YouTube, a bunch of different sites, so you don't even need TV really. I mean, it's all right there.
Well, that's what Xbox is trying to do now. I've heard people say that because of what consumers are getting, obviously, and what the manufacturers are putting out as efficient, we're getting closer and closer to where consoles are just PCs.
Well, then I should probably just buy a PC then.
Yeah, because it's a freaking PC.
And I'm pretty sure
You
that
can do other
I'm
things.
pretty sure that even if the consoles were exactly like computers, they would be lesser because they probably wouldn't be upgradable.
Well, of course,
So, as I just said, PCs.
without breaking warranty.
Exactly. So PCs are upgradable easily. You can get parts, you can find them. You can go like any which way. You can get friends that know computers. I mean, you know.
That's right.
So I think the PC
Interchangeable
would
like cars.
probably be the best way to go if I was, just looking at it purely from spending my money wisely.
Objective standpoint.
I get a lot more out of a PC than I
Going
would
with
out
your
of
wallet. That's
a
right.
console.
That's right. Yeah. No, I totally agree. Completely unbiased. I totally agree.
I don't know if I'm completely unbiased, but
Well, no, I mean from a completely unbiased
yeah.
standpoint. See, my bias, I don't know. I did prefer Xbox 360, but I used to be a big Nintendo guy, as I said in my Nintendo rant video, since 2 years old. I mean, during the Second War, Wow, I'm starting to sound like some kind of whatever. Without sounding too silly, during the second console war, I was more Sony. I mean, I had a 64 and I also had a PS1. And I liked both of them, but I was more. I don't know. I mean, I was used to the Nintendo characters by then, but Sony had some interesting games. It's where I got Resident Evil. It's where I got Metal Gear Solid, not the original Metal Gear. It's where I got. Oh man, a lot of stuff. Tekken. Ha, Tekken.
Yeah, there's a lot of...
Marvel versus Capcom.
You can go on for a
There's
lot of older
tons
game
of-
series because there are a lot of good ones.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. But now, I mean, during Xbox, Wii, PlayStation, I gotta side with Microsoft for that one. And I do prefer, I love Microsoft as a company. They're really good. Xbox? I don't know. I don't know.
Mhm.
They got such a surge, so much momentum, and now they're just... I guess it's true what they say, the brighter you glow. Like if you... The flame that burns twice as bright
Yeah.
burns half as long. That's what I'm seeing. And not because of some freak accident. They're doing it themselves.
Yeah.
They're really... It's almost like they're going out of their way to alienate customers.
Which is unfortunate.
It is. It's very unfortunate. You know, they had a lot of headspace, and now they're enclosing themselves.
Hmm. Yeah. Companies tend to like to think that they're above, their customers sometimes when they become successful.
That is the point. Gaming industry, it's more about the industry and less about the gaming.
Yeah.
There were times where video games were $15 new.
Yeah.
$25 new.
I mean,
And
there's like a
now,
lot of like indie games now are becoming more popular.
that's indie games are becoming more popular because one, the originality, two, the love and care. I mean, I repeated all this in my Nintendo
Yeah.
rant video. If you want to talk about it a little, we can.
Oh, I'm just saying like indie games.
Yeah,
though, like,
there's more
there's more of a like a
personality.
they treat it more like a child, and
Personality,
and,
yeah.
and less of
I did say
like a money maker.
my Nintendo rant video. I did say that more quote unquote love.
I guess you can say it's the difference between a parent and a pimp.
That's a good.
And if you really think about it, it does
That's
make
a-
sense. Difference between a parent and
It
a pimp.
does,
It's
it
funny
really
at
does.
first, but then you're like, wait, that does make sense because
Well, I mean, with all the
I
Mario
mean,
games,
look at no, not just that, but like look at Call of Duty, one every year. It's like,
Call
bitch,
of
where's my
Duty,
money?
the annual FPS, that's the same as everything else.
Exactly. So it's like, what the fuck?
Different
And
variables.
then
Small
but with
variables.
the indie games, they're not doing it every like once a year. They're like taking like 2 years, 3 years to make their games.
I like that game Fez.
Yeah, I looked at it. It's not my kind of cup of tea, but I do enjoy like the quirk of it, and I think it's a pretty interesting idea for a game. Definitely
With a lot of
definitely
indie
different.
games, you get themes.
Yeah.
Flash games are very popular. There's one game that I was thinking about doing a one-off on, but it's way too depressing for my taste. One Chance to Save the World.
Hmm.
It's very interesting. You should look into it. I'm not going to talk about it really here because we don't have the time for it, but definitely look into it. Otherwise, other indie games that are really good are VVVVV. My personal buddy Raukau has played it. Very interesting, very original, lots of character. But that's what it is, character,
Yeah.
originality, and good gameplay. What about that game Braid?
Yeah.
That game really makes you think.
Someone ruined the ending for me, so I kind of know what it's about, but without playing it. But I do.
It's a very intense plot twist,
I-
and it's like, wait, now it all makes sense.
I really think that's a pretty cool idea for a game. And
Oh yeah, it's very twisty
and
turny.
it's kind of like Sands of Persia, like the good ones though, not the shitty ones.
There's a Sands of Time.
Yes. So like
first-
with the ability to change back your mistakes.
Oh yeah.
But
Remember that Eagle Raptor video? Then he runs out of sand. Yeah.
Yes.
I think that Microsoft is running out of sand, and too bad they can't turn back time and fix their mistakes. But they do have 2 weeks to change this.
Yes, they do.
They do.
They do.
At the time of this recording, 3:48 a.m. on May 28th.
Let's see what they do.
They E3's in 2 weeks, so less actually.
Yeah. But well, let's see if they make the right choice, and hopefully they do.
And you know what? They did announce. To be fair, they did announce. I don't know if they're blowing steam, bluffing, but they did announce 15 new titles, 8 of which are new intellectual property. So there's a lot of new content, apparently, but it's hearsay. So
Who knows?
you know,
Well,
that's like I remember when I was a kid, and my friend was like, "Oh, you know, you can unlock Master Hand in the original Super Smash Brothers." Oh, really? Yeah, you can also get Mew in Pokemon Yellow. That's interesting. You can't do either of those.
Yeah.
Unless you have like a debug or something.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, but yeah. I think have we exhausted all of our topics?
That's
Is there still more?
Yeah, well, we're just about out of time anyway,
Yeah.
so it works out. Yeah. Any final thoughts?
Final thoughts? Well, like I said before, love Big Brother, and
Oh yeah, totally.
PCs are where it's at, really.
You know, it's funny because the year 1984 was a good year for gaming. It's true.
That was pretty funny. Irony.
Irony. Direct comedic value. It's not irony, but yes.
Also read that book if you haven't. Do it.
Oh yeah. No, it's
Arm
great.
yourself with knowledge, friend.
Because knowing is half the battle. The more you know.
Oh, you know.
Yeah, I guess our time's up here.
Yeah, we're just rambling now.
Joined by Kyon, I'm a rock. This was a very lengthy episode of. I think I'm gonna do them from an hour long from now on. Hopefully, let's see how the post-production goes. Because dear God, I'm not looking forward to it. But I'm a rock, and he's Kyon.
Yeah.
And we're gonna be playing Goof Troop, which is nice.
Yes.
Check that out soon. It should be uploaded pretty soon, if not already by the time this gets up. But not. Yeah, it'll be a while. But this is a series of pointless conversations, and Okay, I'm done.
That was a thing.
Good night, all.
Bye.